What's up? What's up? Obviously, you're watching the recording, but it's 7 p.m., so gotta give it up to all those essential workers. What's up?
Going, man.
How's it going?
Very good.
Good, good. Thanks for joining.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let me just give me a second. I want to put in the Clear Skies page here. Clear Skies Title Agency, right?
Yep. Our clearskiestitle.com.
Oh, no, the IG handle.
Oh, Clear Skies Agency. Yep.
How's everything going?
Things are good, man.
Good, good. Yeah, I just wanted to. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let me just try to pin it here. So, guys, thank you for joining us this evening. I was just saying when I came on at 7 p.m. So, just giving it up real quick to all our essential workers. So many people that are doing great work out there, whether it's healthcare, law enforcement, fire department, food service, deliveries, postal workers, so many people. So, thank you for joining us here, Victor Ng, right? I said it right?
Yep. So, that was
Right,
perfect,
so,
man. Very few people
partner.
say it right the first time.
Yeah, thanks. So partner at Clear Skies Title Agency, based in Cranford, New Jersey.
Yep. Headquarters in Cranford. We're actually going to be moving. We were supposed to move last month, but things went kind of crazy. But we're moving to Milburn soon, and office.
Oh, that's great. What, you need more space?
We do.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad. That's great news. You know what I mean? So yeah, we got a lot of people in here, so that's awesome. Because title insurance, title, not maybe not one of the sexiest topics, right? But very necessary. So I'm just trying to, as we spoke, Victor, and the reason I reached out to Clear Skies was because I just speaking to a lot of people in the industry. I had heard a lot of good things about Clear Skies, starting with Nick Tang, going to his events last year and stuff like that. And so, he recommends Clear Skies. So just figured let me reach out, and let's I want to learn and also provide some value to people who are on here. If you could, Victor, talk a little bit about your background and how you came to join or create Clear Skies. Why the title business?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those questions where when I meet other people in title, we're always really curious about each other, how we got into the business, because obviously it's not one of those industries that people think about doing when they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was one of those weirdos who knew exactly what he wanted to do in college,
Okay.
and that was real estate. And I went to Rutgers, one of the few out-of-staters. And when I studied real estate, I didn't know what within real estate I would go into. And it just happened that when I graduated, I went on monster.com. The first job post that I saw in real estate was for a title search company. So I worked there for a couple years. I guess I thought I could do a better job, so I left and started my own company. And then
So let me ask you.
yeah.
Let's backtrack. In Rutgers, what was your major? It was
Urban
real
studies.
estate.
Yeah, urban studies, but I picked real estate focused classes.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. So then you got into the title industry, and did you love it right away? Did you grow to enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you said it right. It's not one of those industries where it's like really sexy and people, even think about it that much. But for me, I think as just, having that entrepreneurial bug, for me, it was just about building something. So that to me was more important. And seeing the opportunity that I could, that there was a lot of room for competition for us to grow.
Okay.
And that was more of my draw.
And Clear Skies has been in operations for some time now. When did you open it?
Sure. So at first we were just a title search company. So we worked for other title agencies and that's how I met Nick and a lot of investors, because we were doing title searches, so not title insurance, just doing the searches and collecting data for investors.
Okay.
But when it wasn't until 2014, 2015 that me and my partner kind of had an opportunity to start Clear Skies, and so we made the jump from doing searches to doing title insurance.
Okay, got it. So, as you started in the industry and doing title searches, first of all, what does that entail? Because, you know, there's some investors on here, so forth. You know, I'm still fairly new investor. Like, what is, when we talk about title, right? You put a property under contract. You're getting your tank sweep. You know, maybe you're getting your inspection lined up and stuff like that. Oh, you know, we got to get an appraisal. Hey, we got to run title. We got to run title. This and that. What's the big deal about title? Why is that so important?
Sure.
Victor, tell me, Victor, because I just want to buy the thing, man. Like, come on, you know, it looks good, man. The guy wants to sell it. I want to buy it. Like, why do I got to run title? What's this title stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I understand it is probably one of the least understood parts of the real estate industry and
Help us out, man, because I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah, so basically, you know, without our research, how do you know that the person that you're buying the property from actually owns the property, right? As crazy as that sounds, there is a lot of, you know, unscrupulous people out there.
You mean there's people that lie in real estate?
So there are people that do it there, but there's also people that don't do it on purpose. You know, someone could, you know, think that they own the property, but they really don't. You know, they could have inherited the house, but really they have another sibling somewhere that also has a ownership percentage in the house, and they just didn't know. So that kind of thing happens. You know, I could share with you some crazy stories like that, but you know, but there's a lot of those. But more commonly, you know, another thing that's besides ownership issues, you could also you inherit debts. So when people take out a loan, right, usually the person you're lending you money wants to attach wants some kind of guarantee they're going to pay them back. So for most people, the most valuable thing they own is a house. So they attach those debts to the house. So what happens when you sell the property and a new person inherits it, those debts stay with the property until they get paid off. So, you know,
what are some examples of that? What are some examples of some debts?
So the most common one is the mortgage, right? Most people, when they buy a house, have a mortgage. So, you know, lender wants to make sure that when the house gets sold, that they get paid off. Right. So unfortunately, if the mortgage doesn't get paid off, that mortgage stays on the property. It's not attached to the person necessarily, it's attached to the property. So we make sure that those things, you know, other common stuff is like unpaid taxes. There's also liens, like if you have like it could be something like a hospital bill. If it's big enough, they'll attach like a debt to your house. These things, do happen, and you know, these are things that we try to help our borrowers avoid by finding and fixing them.
So in that title search, do you have to run a search like several times to make sure you get everything, or is it just one time and you get everything on that house? How does it work?
I mean, it's time consuming. I think a lot of people think that it's, you know, super easy to run a title search, but there's an art to it. That's why some people have been doing it for such a long time. That's just the title search process. Okay. But you know, most title searchers, I would assume that if they know what they're doing, they're not running the search multiple times. They're running it one time. You know, if there's some like really glaring things, for example, it's $1 million house and there's no mortgage. They can't find a mortgage on it. They might double check that and, you know, make sure that this person really doesn't have a mortgage, stuff like that.
Okay. And then so that you now are able, once you get that report, so that report, it can vary in terms of time, the turnaround time to get it? Yeah,
of course. So, you know, basically the search part is done in the courthouse. You know, people think it's like, you would imagine that by 2020, everything is online and it's really, you know, straightforward and easy, but it is not quite like that. You know, there's many records that are still offline. There's some counties that are not online at all. So we're going into the courthouse, doing these research. We have to go, you know, industry standard is to go back a minimum of 40 years. For larger deals, we have to go back 60 years. Okay. So we're searching back quite far. And everything is not filed by city, right? So if you're going to the courthouse computer, you're not typing in 123 Main Street. You're typing the name of the person, and everything's under that person's name. So obviously,
the name of the seller?
Name of the seller. Yep. So obviously, if you search my name, there might not be that many hits, but if you search like John Smith, you're going to get a bazillion hits. And the searcher has to go through every one of those records and see if this one matches that property address. So it can
So
be very
even,
time-consuming. Yep.
sorry, so even now in 2020, you got a deal. It's a house in Jersey City.
Yeah.
A searcher has to physically go through the records for 123 Main Street, Jersey City, and go through all of that stuff. And that's how you started. That was your first job.
That's what we're doing. Yep.
Okay.
So I mean, over the years, new counties have moved some records online, but a lot of the older records are not online. So if you have to go back more than 30, 40 years, usually you have to go physically to the courthouse and look at those books. Yeah.
So now, obviously, in the times that we're in, and we hope that everyone and their families are doing well during this pandemic that we're in, how has this crisis affected your business and you guys, your staff, being able to access these records where you have to physically go, right? Because different towns, they're closed, or they're on a different schedule, minimum, not a regular schedule. How have you worked around that stuff?
Yeah. So I mean, when it first started shutting down, we got really scared, just like everyone else in the industry. We're wondering how we're going to continue to do business. And then when counties started to close, we got really scared. But fortunately, a lot of our underwriters, which these are the bigger companies that support what we do and kind of basically pay for our claims in case there's mistakes, right? So they're the ones who really we do all the work, but they're the money that backs us. But they came together and they came up with strategies that allow us to continue operating. One of them was permitting us to use online searches much more than we used to.
Okay.
So that was a big help. And then they also, they worked on other ways. I don't want to bore you with details.
No, it's fine. No.
Yeah.
So that's great. So they provided that additional assistance. But like you were saying a minute ago, if there's something maybe that you just can't access it online, if you have to get, I guess, to the records, right?
Yep.
Is there any way to get around that, or is there like a deeper online system that has that? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's really tricky. Every county goes back, a different amount, right? Some of them go back 10 years, which is really bad, right? That doesn't go back far enough at all. Some of them go back 60 years, which is great. But for the ones that don't go back far enough, what happens is we need to ask the owner for the title insurance policy from when they bought the property. Okay. So what we can do is we can piggyback off their title policy and start off from that point.
Right.
So that's really what has been helping us be able to still continue to do transactions. Unfortunately, in some cases where someone bought the property 40 years ago, chances are they don't have that record anymore. And even if we try to contact the lawyer that they worked with 40 years ago, that guy might be retired or even worse, maybe passed away. And then they definitely won't be able to tell us which title company they work with. So in some cases, we haven't been able to insure, and we'll have to wait till the counties reopen.
Okay, so now we have that property. You have maybe it took a few days, took a week, whatever it was, right, to get that title report. What's the next step after that? So now the attorneys look over it, right? Talk to us about the next steps after that title report is in.
Sure. Attorneys don't look over it yet. It comes back to our office. The search company usually is separate from the title insurance company. So basically the search comes in, and these people basically that are more scientific, like technical thinkers, they're usually more trained than other staff. They're called title examiners. And basically their job is to look through the search, look for problems. They look for red flags, and they create this basically report called the title commitment. And that commitment basically says, all right, so it's kind of like in some ways comparable to like a loan commitment, right? It's basically saying, if you do these things, then we will insure you. So it's usually like, if you pay off this mortgage, fix this judgment, pay off this debt.
To the seller,
yep,
right? Yeah.
Yep, then we can insure. So that's the next step. That's usually the part where we send that to both attorneys and they get to review it. And hopefully the seller side can help us to fix those issues.
And hey, I paid that water bill. Okay, well, do you have documentation, right? Can you send that in? Stuff like that?
Yep. So basically whatever documentation they give us, it needs to be, it can't be on it's scribbled on a napkin, right? It's going to be something that we believe enough that we can put our stamp on it, saying that if this ever becomes an issue, we will pay for it, right? So obviously, we're not going to do that if we don't feel comfortable.
And correct me if I'm wrong. And then you guys, obviously, you're a reputable company. You want to make sure that, for example, you give your stamp of approval that this is all accurate, everything is done, because obviously you don't want to green light that and give insurance. And we'll talk about title insurance next. To green light that everything's fine, and then God forbid 6 months later, turns out that there was a mistake, right? And then that's why you guys have underwriters to cover you. Am I correct in saying that?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that's very important, right? Because you want to, and I appreciate everyone that's on here with us. A term, I should have said it in the post leading up to this, but a term that we all want, right? We want clear title, right? We want a clear title, meaning nothing on it that's of concern. That, if let's say I'm buying this property, I know it's clear of any liens, any judgments, things like that. So I don't, I'm not getting something later on. Hey, listen, so-and-so has a claim to this property, whatever. So, is there anything else that you want to cover that's pretty important around the title report, the title search process? I'm enjoying this, man. I think it's always important to just learn as much as possible, because in a real estate deal, as you know, right, you guys, Clear Skies Title, and their website is clearskiestitle.com. You guys provide such an important service because there's so many different lanes, so many different departments in real estate. Title is very important because, you want to have peace of mind that you're buying this property. If it's your residence, it's going to be your residence, it's going to be an investment property, whatever it is, commercial property, that it's going to be your property. You're not going to have no one's going to come with a certain interest. Say, hey, listen, I have a claim to this or whatever, or listen, hey, you owe this bill, this and that, So is there anything else you want to share regarding the report process?
Sure. I mean, I guess, since we're talking to a lot of investors will come to a title agency or even a title search company, and they'll try to do these kind of preliminary searches, right, before they buy the property, especially if they're going to like an auction, right? If you're going to like a sheriff's sale, you're putting down this deposit. And if you look through the fine print of, when you enter the sheriff's sale, they give you a piece of paper, they'll tell you that, there's no guarantees of title and that you should do a title search beforehand. So, some investors will do searches beforehand so that they're not putting down a deposit and then finding out later that they have to pay a whole other mortgage when they win the auction, or that there's going to be liens and other stuff that they have to pay off, right? They want to be aware of this and factor it into their max bid. I
didn't know that. Okay. Let me ask you, I know you deal obviously with a lot of investors, I'm sure, and in the investor community, you have some guys and gals that buy bulk, right? They may go to an auction and buy several properties. Do you see that would they do search a title search, like have you guys do a report before they buy that bundle of properties, or do they just kind of take their chances and, you know what I mean? Do you see that one way or another?
We see both. Some people are of the mentality that, I don't want to spend this money beforehand if I'm, there's not even a good chance that I might not win the auction, right? I might not win the bid. So why am I investing this money into it? So some people do that. And if it's like a really big claim, maybe they'll try to fight it. And, but sometimes they're just going to take a loss and they feel like overall it's worth it. But then there's other investors who have us do searches on, tons of properties every week. So we get them both.
Okay. Those initial, if you don't mind me asking, like those initial reports before they even get into the property, is there a price range that you could share? Like, does it vary, or is it, to
For sure. Super, no secret there. If you go directly to our search company site, so it's City Standard, or we have an auction website that we created or helped them create. It's called mjauctionauthority.com. $75.
Oh, great.
It includes a county search and includes the upper court judgment search.
Okay.
In our opinion, that it's pretty much what you should run. Anything beyond that, it's it gets pricier. You can always be more careful, but at a certain point, it comes too cost prohibitive, and I feel like that's enough due diligence. Yep.
Right. So you guys have another company, City Standard, you said?
So that was my first company. I'm not as active in that company these days, just so I can stay 100% focused on Clear Skies. But that was my first company.
And City Standard is just regarding title searches?
Correct. Just title searches.
And then Clear Skies is the whole thing, right? Searches as well as the insurance.
That's correct.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, and that website, is it City Standard?
CityStandardData.com.
CityStandardData.com. Okay, just for title searches. Okay, and then ClearSkiesTitle.com.
Yep.
Now, so now let me ask you with going back to that example with the folks that if you buy a property at an auction, you're still going to do your due diligence, right? So aren't you still going to do title then?
Yeah, so basically what happens is you put down your deposit, it's like 20%, right? And then you have usually 30 days or so to come up with the remainder of the money. At that time, investors will reach out to us to buy title insurance. So at that point, we have more time and they're committed, right? They've already won the auction. They're willing to spend the money. So we will do more in-depth searches. I saw our friend Brian Hewitt in here. He owns a chancery search company. So basically, chancery searches are more expensive, but it's an additional search that we will do at that point. But at that point, we basically will do all our real due diligence, more in depth, and insure it. Beforehand, we're just doing the searches. So the problem with that of waiting and the risk is that at that point, if we do more in depth search, if you didn't do a search beforehand, and we find like a tax, some like a big lien, you might lose your deposit, but at least you only lose 20%.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if you put down your, the 100%, the remainder of the balance without title insurance, you could lose all of it.
Right, because now you've put down that deposit, and let's say a week or week and a half into it, you find out, right, you can't go back to the court. Hey, listen, can I get my deposit back? Right? You can't do that, right?
That's right. But we have had 100% success rate in the situation where someone puts down their deposit, so they win the bid part. But then we do more due diligence and we find out a major flaw. So, for example, we find out that the owner was foreclosed upon, but they were never served properly. Right? That would be a major issue.
Oh, shit.
Right? In one case, it was the owner was proved that he was in a mental institution at the time, so he was never served. And the attorney couldn't provide that, so we were able to help our clients get their deposit back, avoiding the sale. So that can happen.
Right. Okay. So that's good to know, right? Because everything has its pros and cons. All right. So now talk a little bit about title insurance. Why? So now, come on, Victor. I got the title report. Now I got to get insurance. What's going on?
Yeah. So the insurance part is, I think a lot of people when they hear the word insurance, they have certain I guess thoughts. Right, they immediately think of like auto insurance or car insurance or like homeowner insurance.
Yeah,
it's pretty different, right? Those insurances insure things that happen in the future. Ours insure things that happen in the past. Our insurance you pay one time at closing and then you don't pay it again until you sell the property, right? Or so a new buyer buys a property, they pay the insurance. Car insurance you obviously pay every month or every year or whatever. Yeah,
for the future. Yeah.
And then the main difference between our insurance and other types of insurance is ours is an active insurance. So if Geico is a really good auto insurance company, they cannot prevent you from getting into a car accident. At least I don't think so.
No, they're not that good. No.
So for a title insurance, we basically are, if it's a good company, they will find things and fix problems before you close. So therefore, there's a less chance of there's issues popping up later. So there's a lot of work that we actually have to do behind the scenes that people don't know about. And that's why, title insurance doesn't happen like instantly, right? People have to actually, there's stuff that happens. But at the end of the day, it is insurance. If there is either a human error on our part, or in some cases, no matter how good we are, some things, for example, like a fraudulent signature, right? How good, can we be to spot a fraudulent signature on an older deed? Right. Sometimes we just can't tell. But in cases like that, we're still an insurance company, so you are covered.
Can you give an example of where maybe there was a client that you assisted and they got insurance and then something came up, but they weren't insured? If there's something that you could share, like an example?
Yeah, for sure. So a good one, we had one client who, well, let me just start. Basically, there's a lady, maybe 3 years ago, she lost her house to a short sale, right? I'm not going to go into short sale since, there's a lot of investors here. You guys know what that is.
Yeah.
So she basically lost her house and she didn't get paid any money at closing. But she was, walked away from the loan. The mortgage was paid off. A year had passed, and she basically, got a bunch of mail and a phone call from these investors saying, "Hey, I want to buy your house." And she's like, "No, I don't own the house anymore. I lost this house," right? And then they're like, "No, you own the house. You still own it. The records show that you own this house. Will you sell it to me?" And she said, "I thought I lost this house, but if you're saying I own the house, maybe I do." So it took a lot of convincing, but finally, people showed her, they assured her that, look, the deed is still under your name, the tax records are still under your name. You own this house, and it was still vacant, right? So she said, "Okay, so I guess maybe I still own the house," and she sold the house a second time. But this time, the mortgage was already discharged, so she kept all the money. It was like, she had no mortgage. So it was an amazing deal for her.
Wow.
Unfortunately
so she
for
in
us,
fact she did own the house and she was able to cash. Wow, that's amazing.
that is amazing. Unfortunately, it wasn't amazing for us because we insured the buyer, right? We did our due diligence, the records checked, everything looked great. But then we found out later the reason why the deed was never recorded when she lost the house the first time was because the attorney who represented the buyer had the deed on his desk, and he was arrested at that time, and his office was raided, and they took all of his documents. So it was never recorded. The person who bought it was an investor who never got around to working in the house, so it was vacant and never changed anything. So she really thought that she owned the house. So then the original owner comes after our client, who is another investor, started rehabbing the house. Unfortunately, then the investor who bought it the first time around said, "I want my house back." So in that case, this is, if he didn't have title insurance, our client would have been in deep shit.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it, but in this case, he had title insurance, so we had to take care of him.
So when that happens with title insurance, what in that scenario, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to your client? Did they receive their money back? How does that work?
Yeah, so basically your title policy is usually based on what you pay at closing, right?
Yeah.
There's situations where you can buy more than what you're paying, but people usually don't do that. So our client was able to get all the money that he spent buying the property back.
Wow.
Unfortunately, at this time, he already spent a little bit of money on rehab, but it could have been much worse.
Right.
So our job was to make him whole, and then after that, our job is to try to recoup money ourselves. But first and foremost, our client is protected and made whole. Yep.
Gotcha. So that's a very interesting story. Like just a mix of factors, man. That's amazing. Wow. Okay. Anything else in general? Like even let's say for any advice for, even let's say not even an investor, maybe a first-time homeowner, they've never owned a home. Any tips for that person, a first-time homeowner, around just title and the importance of title, reports, insurance that you want to share?
For the first-time home buyer, it's not, I wouldn't say you carry the same risks as like an investor would, right?
Mm-hmm.
If any regular standard contract says that if there's title issues, that the contract is null and void. So it's not like you're going to lose money because of title.
Right.
And usually they're not. Most closings that are regular people buying are not like, "Hey, I need to close in like 3 days."
Right.
So the title company has more time to look for these things and fix problems.
Right.
So I don't think the issue is, as long as you hire a reputable, good title company, they should be able to make sure that you're not in trouble.
Yeah. So with your company, with Clear Skies, so under Clear Skies, you guys do searches. You guys also you have examiners.
Yep. We do everything in house. Yeah.
And then the insurance. Any other departments that we didn't touch upon?
Yeah. So it goes from searching, number one, and then the examiners look at it, issue the commitment. After that, it goes to our closing department. So that's the department that interacts with the attorneys, with the lenders. They're the ones who, if you go to a closing, you have to sign this document called the closing disclosure, or HUD. Basically, they're the ones who gather all these numbers, run the calculations, calculate tax by the day. They're the ones who make sure that we have all the documents to be signed. And they're the ones who coordinate the closing time and date, or at least help with that part.
And that person's usually at the closing, right? Or they can
So
be?
usually not that person themselves, at
No?
least for our
Okay.
company, but we'll have a person who's a professional closer go to that closing. So those
Okay.
are the people that they're really personable. They're good at making small talk, making people feel comfortable.
Yeah,
But most importantly, they're able to walk people through the documents and explain it to them in a way that they understand it.
that makes sense. All right. So now during this pandemic, talk to me about a recent deal and how does it work? How do you guys, is everybody like, is a big Zoom meeting or everyone's gotten the PDFs, like how's it going down?
Yeah, so I mean that's the dream, right? We want that to happen more. I mean, most closings until about 3 weeks ago, it was illegal in New Jersey to do a remote closing. Basically, it got fast tracked, pushed through the House and Senate, and the governor signed it about 3 weeks ago, maybe 3.5 weeks ago, and basically that allowed us to do virtual notarization. So
Okay.
basically like this, but something more professional, like Zoom,
Right.
right? A professional Zoom account, and we record the conversation. And we also have to tweak one of the signature lines that says that communication technology was used.
Right.
As long as those things happen, a virtual notarization, works. It is recordable. But for a majority of closings, it's not quite like that yet. And the reason is because a lot of lenders, it's too new, and they're not ready to accept it.
Okay.
So for most closings, we still, the best that we can do is we will call the buyer beforehand, and we'll explain to them all the documents. We'll go through all the documents with them, but professional closer will, so that when they show up at the closing, they have much fewer questions and they're confident and they'll go through it quicker. We also make sure that for the actual closing, we discourage, if you're not there to sign, please don't come.
Right.
Like realtors, even attorneys, we'd rather you do a Zoom call and be there with your client, help them, guide them, make them feel comfortable, but don't come in person unless you feel like you have to.
Who then would be at the closing then, physically?
Yeah, so it would just be our closer, and it would be anyone who's signing. So the buyers.
The buyer. If it's a couple, then it would be the two of them, right? Just whoever needs to sign.
That's right.
Right. So don't bring your uncle that's happy for you, right? Yeah. Don't bring your kids. Just bring the people that are going to sign, that are going to hand the check, right? Because obviously for the purposes of protecting everyone there.
That's right.
Right.
And we make sure everyone wears, at least our closers wear masks and gloves.
Wear masks, gloves, yeah. Keep a distance, right? Keep the 6 feet.
Keep a distance. In some cases, people will ask beforehand what the buyer feels comfortable with. Some people are more extreme, and we respect that, and we'll have to do a closing either through a window or through a door sometimes, as long as we're able to see the person signing the documents.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's
and
awesome.
Then, but as far as the virtual closing closing stuff I mentioned, we can definitely do that for cash closings.
Right.
And then in cases where the lender approves it, we can do the entire process virtually through a software like Zoom, or we have some other softwares that we use that are made for this.
That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, and hopefully continued success with that. I hope that you guys can continue doing what you're doing and in a manner that's safe for everyone and efficient, still efficient. It is 2020. There's a lot of technology that we can do, and it's nice, like even now, right, with realtors, we got something on the contract, and they had to resend it because they added the addendum with the COVID-19 and that stuff. So let's just be on point and make sure that we're doing everything. It's very unprecedented times that we're in. We gotta make sure that we're covering all the bases, but that's important. Victor, is there anything that in your industry in terms of title reports, insurance, title services that you would like to see, or maybe that you're working to improve on? Any maybe trends that you're seeing that maybe you like to further develop, or that you see coming up to be able to better assist and facilitate the work that you guys do?
It's a pretty general question. Definitely we put a lot of focus in trying to get our hands around the virtual closing thing. Okay. There were so many question marks around that, so much people telling us all different things. So that's been a lot of our priority and focus. We've also worked on we have a campaign right now called Virtual Everything, So that means we brought if you're a realtor, we do C courses normally, but we were able to bring that online, so you can get credits by attending a virtual tour where we walk through the title process.
That's
We've also
great.
come up with some tools for realtors. Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
No, I see, and I see you guys have a presence. Again, guys, and I'll put it in here before we finish. It's clearskiestitle.com. I'm looking at your site now. You guys have a presence on YouTube. You have content to share the title process. You have resources on here as well. So that's great. I mean, you guys, yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. County clerk phone numbers, quick tips. That's great. That's really great because you're also providing that education. You guys serve all of New Jersey. Where else do you work? Do you do it
Yeah, that's
in
it.
New or just
We're
in
very
Jersey?
focused. We just do Jersey. We
Okay.
have a partner that helps us do New York.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. Guys, I don't want to keep everyone on here for but we appreciate everybody here on a Thursday night. Anyone with any questions, we got Victor Ng, partner at Clear Skies Agency. That's their handle, their IG handle. Hopefully it is there. I'll put in your website now too. Yeah, this is so you're saying right now you guys have been able to do a few more closings, virtually, right?
Yeah, we have done some closings virtually, yeah, and we expect it to increase. There's been a few lenders that announced probably in the last couple of weeks that starting June they'll start rolling out at least give us approval to do more of that kind of stuff.
That's
So
cool.
we're excited for that.
That's awesome. Let's see here. We had a lot of people jump in. All right, I got a few people. All right. So anyone with any questions? I think this is really great. I learned a lot too, and I'm gonna keep checking out more your site. And definitely reach out to you in the future as well, because I like what you guys are doing. And, I appreciate your time coming on here and talking a little bit about what you do, because you guys, it's very important. Title is very important. Are there any other services that you guys provide that we didn't touch upon?
No, I think you covered it. That's primarily what we do. We do some people want to do just searches, but our focus is title insurance, the entire portion of it, including the closing.
Right.
Yeah. I guess a question that people commonly ask, right, is how much does it cost?
Right.
And the reason why I bring it up now is because there's a kind of a misconception that title insurance is the same for every company, and for some parts it is. And basically, title insurance is made up of two parts when you factor in cost. Right, there's a part that's the premium and the part that's the fees. So the premium part is the part that's same for every company. It's based upon the property, how much we're insuring for. Okay. The other part is the fees. So that's like the searches. That's the the closer coming to the closing itself. Right. A lot of the examination part. Yeah. Things like this. That part is not the same for every company.
It'll vary. Right.
It'll vary. So some people, unfortunately, some companies take advantage of the fact that people don't really understand what title even is, right? And they're buying a house, and this is just another one of like 100 lines of fees that they're paying. So they will increase those fees, and people won't know. Right. So it is I recommend, especially if you're buying a lot of properties, you're an investor, that's something that you should do your comparison, do some ask for quotes, because some companies do take advantage of that fact.
Right. And to your credit, you go on their website, clearskiestitle.com, and the first thing is on the home page, get an instant estimate. So they give you that option, guys. So that's great. And obviously this is being recorded, and I'll share it, and I'll send it to Victor, so you guys can go ahead and share. Check it out later. Share with people that couldn't get on. That's really important. So let me ask you, Victor, if it's a single family house compared to a 4-unit rental property, would the premium be more for the 4-unit, or not necessarily? How would that work?
Nope. For us, it doesn't matter as long as it's one property, like one lot.
Okay.
Right? In this case, I'm assuming it is. it doesn't matter. It's just going to be based on how much you're insuring the property for, so usually the purchase price.
Okay. So, there's some interesting lots, right? We see it in Jersey where maybe it's two houses on one lot. You know what I mean? It's not too common, but it happens. I saw it. I'm in Patterson a lot. I saw we were looking at a deal, and it was the same lot, same tax lot, but two separate houses. Would that affect the premium? Because it is
Yes,
two structures?
if it's two lots, then basically search costs would increase. But if it's still just one transaction, then it would not.
But let's say two properties on the same lot though, same tax lot, same block and lot though.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think that wouldn't impact the title
Okay.
premium. That
Okay.
might impact, the search might be a little bit more difficult because they might be searching two different lots.
Okay.
So, you're looking for like an additional, $100, $200, nothing crazy.
Got you. Okay. All right, cool. So, guys, again, oh, wait a minute. We got a question here. Mr. Brian Hewitt, thanks for your question. Is examination faster now that it is done online on some transactions? Thanks for that question, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, we since we are relying on online searches much more, there are some counties that have great online records and we can do them a little bit faster.
Okay.
But that is, it's deceiving. It's a tricky question because some counties, for example, Passaic County, right? They have online records, but their online records have gaps in them, and the average person wouldn't know this. Like, for
Damn,
example,
man, why you had to? Why,
yeah.
You see, I just said I'm in Patterson, and then you're getting on my county.
I didn't mean to pick on you, man.
I'm just teasing.
But basically, if you have a federal tax lien and you go to try to do searches on Passaic County website, those don't show up.
That's for sure.
Right, so that's really scary. And the average person, they're trying to go online, trying to be a hero, doing their own search. They wouldn't know that, and so they could, be buying, something terrible.
You could be getting into a big mess. Yeah.
Right.
So something like that, you'd have to go to Passaic County, like.
Yep, we have to go to Passaic County, or in some cases, for us right now, we have to contact our underwriter and say, hey, this is the situation. We need like a special approval from you for us to insure this.
Oh shit! Because if you can't get there physically, it's closed, whatever, right? Or you're running into that where you just can't, because of the times that we're in, you can't physically go to that county.
That's right.
Okay. Wow. So that's where your underwriter steps in and they help out with what they can do.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's fascinating. You know what I mean? That's because you're still trying to provide your service. You know what I mean? You guys are still, you're still trying to do what you need to do. So that's pretty important. So then the underwriter.
Basically, the underwriter basically is taking a risk. They'll say, okay, based on everything we see, we'll let you take this risk. And if something happens, we'll pay for
They
it.
got your back. Right.
Yep. So it's kind of a case by case basis.
Right. Yeah. Are there certain counties that are a little bit more modernized in their processes right now that you work with?
For sure. Like Hudson County is really good. Union County is also another good one. There's a few counties like that go back, to the 60s, 70s at least.
Wow.
And so that's usually enough for most of our searches.
That's awesome. Hey, what's up, Danny? What's up, CBR? Thanks for joining in. Mr. Brian with another question. To follow that question, I know that it may be south for you, but any known issues with Burlington County online records?
I'm looking
That's
up
deep
right
south.
So online Burlington goes back to the 1970s.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, mortgages only go back 25 years. So that's going to be an issue for a lot of purchases. If you're doing a refinance, it might be okay.
Okay, cool. All right. That's good to know. Anyone else with any other questions? We got Victor Ng, partner at the wonderful Clear Skies Title Agency. Their website, clearskiestitle.com. He's been gracious enough to join us here. I swear I don't live on a farm. We have cichlids. I hear you, man. I'm just getting, I love all of Jersey, man. I'm a New York guy, but I love all of Jersey. I know the South is a different vibe. I hear South and North Jersey, South Jersey, they don't like each other too much. They get on each other. But we hope that you guys are staying safe down there too. I heard the governor talk earlier today. He was saying that they're looking to open up the beaches and stuff like that. With some modification to get it ready for Memorial Day weekend. So we hope everyone is staying safe out there. Victor, thank you so much, man. This was a lot of fun. It was great learning more because, like I said, I'm doing these things also because I'm still learning, man. I want to learn and just be more knowledgeable in my craft of real estate investing and making new connections. Obviously, hopefully people those that were on here learn something new. Again, Clear Skies Title, Clear Skies Agency, that's their handle. Website clearskiestitle.com. They do title reports and they do the insurance. They're probably the best agency in Jersey, serving all of the Garden State. I'm going to reach out to you guys in the future as well. I love the vibe that you guys have, and I appreciate your time, man. I really am thankful that you came on here Thursday evening. Anyone else with any questions before we let Victor go? This has been great. Victor, anything else you want to say?
No, man. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. So, guys, with that, like I said, I'll post the recording, and I'll share it with you, Victor, right now. And stay tuned. We got my man Tajir Jefferson tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Silverside Maintenance, all things oil tank sweeps, excavation tomorrow 7. So, Victor, thank you again. Have a great evening. Stay safe. I'll definitely reach out to you, Lord willing, in the future. And also, if there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. But I appreciate your time. Thanks, guys, for joining us this evening. Stay safe, enjoy, and we'll catch you on another live soon.
Awesome. Take care, man. Thanks.
Take care. Thank you.
Yeah.